Our next stop was the Grand Bazaar, which is one of the largest shopping centers in the world. It has 17 gates, 65 streets, and over 4,000 shops, in addition to its historical importance. Following the trip to the Grand Bazaar, in a quieter, smaller setting, there is the Spice Market, which was built in 1664. It is filled with the fragrance of the exotic East. Spices, dried fruits, nuts, and seeds are found there, as well as caviar, saffron, and rare spices.
I think that this is a unique opportunity and a unique country for our students to study, to gain a unique perspective on the Islamic world.
On the second day of the trip, the delegation traveled from Istanbul to Patara by way of Dalaman Airport. Patara is home to many historic ruins, as well as the founding place for democratic federalism. Patara is mentioned in the Federalist Papers but a number of times for its historical significance in the evolution of democracy. The Lycian League's Republican governing system, which was seated at Patara, utilized a proportional representation which was unparalleled in the ancient world and fascinated the pioneering philosophers of the Enlightenment, particularly Montesquieu. Depending on the size of the member cities, each elected 1, 2, or 3 representatives to the Lycian Parliament. When cities were too small, 2 or 3 banded together to share 1 representative vote. The 6 largest cities in the League had the right to 3 votes. The Parliament elected a president, called the Lycurarch, which at various times served as the League's religious, military, and political leader. In Book 9 of Montesquieu's Esprit des Lois, or The Spirit of the Laws, after charting the highs and lows of the earliest republics, he stresses the unity of a confederacy. He cites the Lycian League as an example. In quotations, "It is unlikely that states that associate will be of the same size and have equal power. If one had to propose a model of a fine federal republic, I would choose the Republic of Lycia." Montesquieu's interest in the Lycian way of government could prove central to our founding. Thanks to his writings in the debates about our own Constitution, Alexander Hamilton and James Madison cited the Lycian League as a model for our own system of government here in the United States.
Turkey is the most fascinating place, and many people don't realize that Turkey actually is the source for what has become American-style democracy and federalism. And I think that is one of the principal reasons, particularly for social scientists, for studying Turkey and interacting with Turkish scholars and society.
Not far from Patara is a small fishing village called Kos. It's known for its yachting and being a tourist town in the district of the Antalya province of Turkey. As a tourist town, it is relatively unspoiled. Kos was founded by the Lycians. After departing from Kos, the delegation visited Xanthos. In early sources, Xanthos is used synonymously for Lycia as a whole. Xanthos was a center of culture and commerce for the Lycians, and later for the Persians, Macedonians, Greeks, and Romans, who in turn conquered the city and occupied the adjacent territory. The city has been on the UNESCO World Heritage Sites list since 1988, and it is home to some great ruins as well as an amphitheater constructed by the Greeks and later modified by the Romans. The next stop was Kalkan, a town on the Turkish Mediterranean coast, which averages 300 days of sunshine a year. The area includes many historical sites and many fine beaches. In order to build bridges between the academics from the historically black colleges and universities, the tribal colleges, as well as the Turkish universities, the Turkish Coalition of America sponsored a day-long seminar at the hotel in Istanbul, wherein each member of the faculty from the American universities were able to discuss the international programs at their schools, as well as some of the research that they were conducting. This allowed the academics from Turkey to have exposure to university professionals who they who they normally would not be able to have met with. During this day-long seminar, the professors aired their concerns and reservations and excitement about their students studying abroad in Turkey. It really enabled academics from two very different points of view to come together and discuss both the differences and commonalities, as well as the challenges for any student who's studying abroad. One of the speakers at the seminar discussed his work in Afro-Turk research, discussing those who were brought to Turkey from Africa and are still living in modern-day Turkey. The seminar also provided the American academics with information, contacts, and resources to help their students who are considering studying abroad in Turkey to have a greater picture of what opportunities there are.
This is the largest American Studies Center in Turkey.
The following day, the delegation had the opportunity to meet with the chairman of Bahçeşehir University in Ankara. This is one of the most prominent universities in Turkey, and it gave our delegation the opportunity to see firsthand where their students would be studying if they elected to study at Bahçeşehir University. The delegation also had the opportunity to visit Middle Eastern Technical University and a number of other universities throughout the country.
Academically, I have been extremely impressed with the quality of the faculty members, with the campuses that we visited, and even with an urban campus right in Istanbul in the midst of all the action.
Another key goal of the trip was to provide the delegation with the opportunity to meet with individuals who are serving and had served at high levels of the Turkish government. One of these opportunities was to meet with Ambassador Frank Loğlu for a breakfast at our hotel in Ankara. Mr. Ambassador Loğlu was an ambassador to the United States from Turkey and is currently now advising the Turkish government as well as working with the Turkish Coalition of America on several educational initiatives here in the States. He recently conducted a speaking tour of historically black colleges and universities in the United States, and this was an opportunity to have him meet with some of the same and some new members of the faculty and staff of these universities in Turkey. One of the greatest historical sites in Ankara is the mausoleum of the Turkish national hero Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. The mausoleum is located in Ankara and was designed by the architects Professor Elim Onap and Professor Orhan Arda, who won a competition held by the Turkish government in 1941 for a monumental mausoleum for Atatürk out of a total of 49 international proposals.
I am most impressed with the respect and reverence paid to founding President Atatürk. When we visited his mausoleum, I was struck by the profound reverence of a high school group, the 50-year high school founded in the 50th year of the Republic. And throughout our visit, I have heard particularly women profoundly grateful for the respect and liberation that Atatürk granted to women.